In today's session, we would be preparing a 3-column cash book, and let us look at the question together. The question goes, enter the following transactions in the 3-column cash book of Mr. ABC Limited, and this is for the month of March. And here we have around 13 transactions, and we have to prepare the 3-column cash book. Remember, 3-column cash book, it is characterized by discount, cash, and then bank. So let's go quickly prepare this particular numerical, requesting all of you to prepare the format of 3-column cash book, and then we shall start solving the question together. So here we have prepared the 3-column cash book. We have the format of the 3-column cash book here on the board. Let's look at the format quickly. You have date, particulars, discount, cash, bank. Again, date, particulars, discount, cash, and bank. I had also mentioned that we would be also recording vouchers, receipt numbers, and the ledger folio. But to save on space, I have not shown those 2 columns over here, because one reason is that we are not using it. Second reason is that I want to save on space to record all the transactions. So let us look at the transactions now one by one. March 1st, the transaction is balance of cash rupees 50,000, bank balance rupees 12,000. Okay, so balance of cash rupees 50,000 and bank balance rupees 12,000. So what does this mean? This refers to the balance that you're bringing down. So it is to balance brought down. Okay, to balance brought down. Here the amount is 50,000 and here the amount is 12,000. Here the amount is 50,000 and here the amount is rupees 12,000. Now let's look at the next one. 2nd March, cash sales. So what is happening over here? On 2nd of March, you're carrying out a sale and it is for cash. Okay, so you have to record the amount directly into the cash column. So March 2nd to sales account, and the amount is rupees 12,000. Okay, the amount is rupees 12,000. Okay, so cash sale rupees 12,000. Now let's look at the next one. Received cash of rupees 10,000 in full settlement of rupees 10,200 from Manju. So Manju is paying you some money, and the reason why Manju is paying you this money is because he had to pay you 10,200, but instead of paying you 10,200, he's now paying you 10,000. What does this mean? This means that 200 rupees is discount for you. What this means is rupees 200 is discount for you. So here it will be to Manju account. Discount column, you will be recording 200, and here you will be recording 10,000. Discount column, you will be recording 200, and here you will be recording 10,000. Okay. Then, 4th one. 4th transaction is paid rent by check. Okay. So on 4th of March, what is happening is you're paying some rent, and how exactly are you paying the rent? You're paying the rent by check. So March 4th, you're paying rent March 4 and you're paying the rent by check. So by rent account, and the amount is rupees 4,000. Okay, and the amount is rupees 4,000. So March 4th by rent, and then the amount is rupees 4,000. Now let's look at the transaction on 5th of March. Deposited cash into bank. Okay, so what is happening on 5th of March is you're depositing some cash into bank. So what that means is you're taking cash from your office, going to the bank and depositing it over there. So cash would be going out and bank would be receiving. Now please remember, cash column is real in nature, bank column is personal in nature. Cash column, golden rule is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Bank column, the golden rule is debit the receiver, credit the giver. So March 5th to bank account, and the amount is rupees 5,000. Okay, so okay, I'm so sorry. I think I've written the wrong. Sorry. So here March 5th, cash is going up. Now, why is cash going out? By bank account, cash column, you will be recording 5,000 because cash is going up. Okay. Now, where is the cash going into? Cash is going into your bank column. Remember, bank column is personal in nature. Golden rule goes that debit the receiver. So bank is receiving. What is bank receiving? Bank is receiving cash. So rupees 5,000. So by bank account, rupees 5,000. So March 5th, by bank account, rupees 5,000. Now let's look at March 6th. Received a check of rupees 5,000 in full settlement of 5,200 and deposited into bank. So, oh yeah, one important fact that I also forgot with respect to the transaction on March 5th was this is a contra entry. Why is it a contra entry? Because for March 5th, we are having both debit as well as credit entry. There are two entries featuring on both the sides. Now let's look at March 6th. Received a check of 5,000 in full settlement of 5,200 from Oliver and deposited into bank. So March 6th, what is happening is you're receiving some money from Oliver. But March 6th, how exactly are you receiving the money? You're receiving the money in the form of check. Not only are you receiving the money in the form of check, you're depositing the check into bank as well. Okay, you're depositing the check into bank on the same day. So March 6th, okay, by okay, sorry, I've written it on the wrong side. March 6th to Oliver account, okay, to Oliver account. How much was Oliver supposed to pay you? Oliver was supposed to pay you 5,200. But how much is he paying you? He's paying you only 5,000. So what does that mean? That means 200 is your discount. Okay? What that means is rupees 200 is your discount. So, and this is not a contra entry. Okay? This is not a contra entry. You have received the check from Oliver and you have deposited the check from Oliver into bank. Okay, you have received the check from Oliver and you have deposited the check into bank. Okay, now we have completed the transactions until March 6th. March 7th, received a check for rupees 6,000 from Raju. So on 6th of March, what is happening is Raju is making some payment to you, but he's making the payment in the form of check. Also, please look at the transaction on 7th. Please look at the transaction on 8th. 7th, you have received the check. 8th, what are you doing? 8th, you're depositing the check that you have received from Raju into the bank. So 7th, you receive the check, and 8th, you're depositing the check into bank. So please remember, in this case, you're receiving the check. However, you're depositing the check on a different date. Okay? You're depositing the check on a different date. So March 7th to, okay, and you're receiving cash. So on 7th, since you're receiving the check, but you're depositing on a different date, the receipt of check, you will be treating this as a normal cash transaction. I'll repeat, March 7th, you're receiving the check. However, you're not depositing the check into the bank. Instead, what are you doing? You're depositing this check on 8th of March. So in the previous case, March 6th, what was happening was you're receiving the check from Oliver. However, you're depositing the check from Oliver into bank on the same day itself. Here, the scenario is different. Here, you're receiving the check on 7th, but you're depositing the check into the bank on 8th. So here, the treatment of check transaction is slightly different. So here what you will do is, the day that you receive the check, you will treat that as a normal cash transaction. Debit what comes in. Okay? So you're treating this as a normal cash transaction. So you're holding on to this check. March 8th, what are you doing? March 8th, you're taking this check. Okay, March 8th, what are you doing? You're taking this check you're going to the bank and you're depositing this check. So on March 8th, you should show this as a contra entry. Okay, you should show this as a contra entry. So by bank account 6,000. Okay, and here March 8th to cash account, and the amount is 6,000. And please remember, this is a contra entry. So I'll repeat this transaction once again. Here, March 7th, you have received a check from Raju. However, when you received this check, you were not in a position to deposit the check, because of which on 7th of March, you're treating this as a normal cash transaction. March 8th, what are you doing? You're taking the check, going to the bank, depositing the check over there. Since you're depositing this on 8th, you're passing this as a contra entry. So for 8th of March, you're showing this as a contra entry. That's the reason why you have passed the transaction like this. Okay? That's the reason why you have passed the entry like this. Okay, now let's look at March 9th. March 9th, what is happening? March 9th, paid salary by check. So 9th of March, you're paying some salary, and how exactly are you paying the salary? You're paying the salary in the form of check. So by salary account, and the amount is 2,500. The amount is 2,500. March 9th, by salary, and since you're paying by check, the money should be going out from your bank account itself. Okay, now let's look at the transaction on March 10th. Linda paid rupees 6,000 towards full settlement of rupees 6,100, deposited the check into bank. So 10th of March, Linda is paying you some money. However, Linda is paying you money in the form of check. And what exactly are you doing with this check? You're taking the check, depositing it to bank on the same day. So here, March 10th to Linda account, okay, and the amount is rupees, okay, and the amount is rupees 6,000. Okay? So 6,100 is what you were supposed to pay, but instead you're paying 6,000, which means 100 is your deposit. Okay? 100 is your discount. Sorry, 100 is your discount. So on March 10th, unlike the previous transaction, what has happened is we've received the check and we are depositing the check into the bank on the same day, because of which you will be debiting the bank column directly. Okay, now let's look at the transaction on March 11th. Asif paid rupees 7,000 by check. Okay, now here what is happening is Asif is paying you 7,000 rupees, and in what form is he paying you the money? He's paying you the money in the form of check. So because it's a check transaction, we will have to watch out, are you depositing on the same day or are you depositing on a different day? So the answer to that question you will be getting on March 13th. March 13th, what is happening is you're taking Asif's check, going into the bank and depositing the check over there. Okay? So on March 13th is when you're depositing. So March 11th, when you are receiving the check, you must treat it as a normal cash transaction. So March 11th to Asif account, okay, and the amount is 7,000. Okay, amount is 7,000. You have received the check March 11th to Asif account, and the amount is 7,000. March 12th, withdrew from bank for office use. Okay, so on March 12th, what is happening is you're withdrawing money. But you're withdrawing money for what? You're withdrawing money from the bank for office use, which means you're going to the bank, taking money out, and the money will be coming into your cash. So March 12th, by, okay, so by cash account, and the amount is rupees 2000. Okay, by bank, and the amount is 2000. So cash is going, bank is giving the cash. So cash is, that's why you are crediting bank call. Now, for that day itself, cash is coming into your business. So to bank account, and amount is 2000. Okay. Now remember, what type of entry is this? This is contra entry. You have to denote it with a letter C. Okay. Since it's contra entry, we will denote it with letter C. Now let's look at the last transaction, the transaction on March 13th. Okay. March 13th. Okay. So March 13th. 13th, what we are doing is we are taking Asif's check and we are depositing into the bank. So March 13th, okay, so by bank account, amount is 7,000. So 7,000 is going out. The check worth 7,000 is going out. And March 13th, you're depositing the check into the bank. So to cash account 7,000. So remember, what type of entry is this? This is a contra entry. Okay, this is a contra entry. Okay, so with that we have completed the transactions. Now let us go about balancing. Remember, we have to balance. We have to balance, and let us quickly balance this. Remember, discount column we need not balance. You just have to write the total, and cash column we will have to balance. So in the meanwhile, there was a question that came up. March 10th, Linda, it should be credited. It's a credit entry. Okay, so credit entry. Remember, Linda is paying us money. Okay, Linda paid. Who's she pay? She's paying us. And how is she paying? She's paying the money in the form of check. Okay, so she's paying the money in the form of check. And what we are doing with the check is we're depositing the check into bank. Remember, bank is personal, debit the receiver. So bank is receiving. That's the reason why it is a debit entry. Okay, now let's quickly add this up. So here it is 0, 0, 0, 2, 8, 15, 9, 1, 6, 7, 8, 89,000. Can someone please just confirm? So 2, 8, 2 plus 6, 8. Okay, so this is 87,000. It is 87,000. Can someone quickly confirm? Okay, so here I think in this case, it debit side is more, which means credit side should also be 87,000. Okay, so nonetheless, let me just verify on the calculator. So here we have 50,000 plus 12,000 plus 10,000, 10,000 plus 6,000 plus 7,000 again plus 2,000. The total is 87,000. Okay, 87,000. Here on this side, the total is 5,000 plus 6,000 plus 7,000. So it is 18,000. So 87,000 minus 18,000, it is 69,000. So 69,000 is your balancing figure. Okay, so 69,000 is your balancing figure. So 69,000 is your balancing figure for cash column. So similarly, we have to total up for bank column. So let's just quickly total up. So here it is 0, 0, 0, 10, 22, 22, 9, 12,000 plus 5,000 plus 5,000 plus 6,000 plus 6,000 plus 7,000, 41,000. Okay, so 41,000 is your total here, which means here also it has to be 41,000. Okay, but here it is not 41,000. So 4,000 plus 2,500 plus 2,000. So 88,500. Okay, so someone has asked me a question. March 11th, March 11th, what has happened is March 11th, we are receiving the check from Asif. So since we are receiving the check from Asif, but we are depositing on a different date, it has to be shown as a cash transaction. Okay, because here we are depositing the check on a different day. We are depositing the check only on March 13th. It has to be shown as a cash transaction itself. So here the balancing figure is 32,500. So here the balancing figure is 32,500. Okay, so let's enter this. This is March 31st to balance carried down. Okay, it is, these are the balancing figures. And then April 1st, it will be to balance brought down, and the balance brought down is 69,000 and 32,500. 69,000 and then 32,500. So this is the 3-column cash book entries, and this is also how we go about passing check transactions.